It's live already, bro.
Okay,
but not here yet. Only on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
1, 2.
Boxing reporter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not on here yet.
Not yet.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Scott.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Web Boxing 101 podcast. We'd like to thank everybody that's joining us today. Being that we cannot go outdoors and you are here with us tonight, we thank you for being here to talk some boxing politics, whatever you want to call it. But we want to thank everybody for tuning in and continuing to be big fans of the Web Boxing 101 podcast, transmitting live from Warriors Edge Boxing Gym in El Paso, Texas. Saludos grandes para la gente de Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, Mexico, and all my people from Las Cruces, New Mexico, as we are in our 44th episode of the Web Boxing 101 podcast, and we've had some fun with it. We are in some dire times and some troubling times. So if we can kind of talk some boxing, because there's no boxing on TV, kind of lighten up the mood and cheer some people up, because I know a lot of people are eager to go back to the gym, but this thing seems to get worse and worse. And it's barely been our fourth day, I believe, and it's just getting, I don't know, I don't want to say it's getting bad, but if we can bring some box talk to you guys, I'm happy. Don't forget, folks, to comment live on our chat. We can establish dialogue there on YouTube right now. Go live as well. We have our producers there ready to go and answer any questions. And in just a while, we're going to go on the Boxing Reporter live with our guests. And speaking with our guests, we're going to go live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Say hello to heavyweight professional prize fighter, Mr. David Rodriguez. Dave, you're live right now. You want to say hello?
Hey, everybody. What's going on? I'm happy to be here.
Thanks for being on the show, Dave.
I'm trying to get the page up on mine. Here it is.
Folks, so we got David on the house. So we're going to talk a little bit of boxing. We're going to talk to David on in the next hour. We're going to talk boxing buzz right now, and then we get into David Rodriguez in whatever he has to say to us. It'd be an interesting topic to talk to him here. So first of all, guys, what's going on in the boxing world? Like I said, not a lot has been going on. Clearly, of course, a lot of cancellations. That's all we got. Numerous cancellations. So it's been pretty bad. MTK Global has confirmed a management deal with heavyweight Dave Allen, heavyweight 18-5, 15 KOs, who has last seen knocking out Doreen Darge, having previously recorded a famous stoppage of former world champion Lucas Brown. Also, Sanford Promotion says discussions are underway for a rematch between WBA sensation, I'm going to say that, super flyweight champion Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. In his last outing, he did wonderful against WBC super flyweight champion Juan Francisco Estrada. These two met 8 years ago, with Chocolatito winning a hard-fought decision. So, hey, man, as soon as we get this rolling, boxing can get back into the swing of things, right? Looks like the proposed July 18 date for Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder will be pushed back due to the coronavirus situation. Promoters are reportedly looking at an October date. David Rodriguez, let me get with you on the heavyweight scenery right now, especially Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder as a rematch. We're going to have a loaded fall or winter once this thing is over, right?
Absolutely, man. It's going to be really exciting. You got to think that the people in the mix right now, Fury, Deontay, Joshua, Pulev is coming up, and Andy Ruiz. So These guys, if they just baseball it and fight each other, it's going to be a magnificent scene. It's going to be amazing. And the heavyweight division's back. I haven't seen it this good since the 90s, Holyfield, Riddick Bowe era. It just, they always say the pulse of boxing is the heavyweight division.
And it was used to be, and then it went away, right?
It's a roller coaster, man. It goes up and down, and right now it's hot.
Do you think, so let me ask you, which fighter do you think saved heavyweight fighting? Because, like you said, not of Holyfield, and then we had Mike Tyson, and then it went away for a while. Then the welterweights took over with De La Hoya and them, and then now, do you think Wilder is the savior, or Tyson Fury, or Andy Ruiz?
I'll tell you this right now. I don't even know why Wilder wants to fight Fury again.
You wouldn't want to.
That was an ass whooping. This last fight was it sealed the deal. It's concrete. The only way that Deontay Wilder can beat Fury on the next fight is if, first of all, Deontay needs to get down and weight again. He was 230 this fight.
Right.
He tried to put on a little muscle. I think his right hand comes out like a slingshot when he's 219, 220. 230, he looked like he was pushing his shot a little too much. The only way I could see this third fight going Deontay's way is, obviously it could because he has that right hand.
Right.
But Fury starts slacking on his training, not really taking it as serious. That happens.
So
it happens a lot in boxing.
If you don't want to see the third fight, I wouldn't mind watching it, but boxing more, of course. I'm in a fan perspective point of view. Who do you think would you want to see then against Tyson Fury?
Tyson Fury could right now fight anybody, man. Andy Ruiz is going to be an exciting
Ruiz
fight
again,
dude. If Fury fights Ruiz, they've never fought, so that'd be a good fight. Yeah, Ruiz, but hey. Ruiz has to lose weight. He has to take it serious. He's an exciting fighter. He has quick hands. I think he got too comfortable. Maybe he made his payday. He made his millions, and maybe he's done. Maybe that's all he wanted out of the sport. It's a very stressful sport. It's mentally exhausting. People know, it's not for everybody. And for him, maybe he thought, hey, I'm sick of taking the punches and I'm ready to get out of this. And maybe he just said, forget it.
Dave, do you think that, besides Ruiz being overweight, that travel all the way to the Middle East kind of had an effect? Can it have an effect on a fighter when you travel in different time zone, and can it have a big effect on a fighter?
Yeah, whenever I fought out of the country, we were in a different time zone. We made sure to get there a week and a half before, or sometimes 2 weeks so we could train in that and get acclimated. We took that very serious. There's some fighters that just show up the day of the fight. They go there. They're usually the opponents, and they go there to get their ass kicked, But you never know. But you want to be acclimated. You want to go in there, and you want to prepare for the fight accordingly, and get used to the air and the environment and the people, and that going all the way to Dubai to the fight, that was just insanity. But But the adrenaline kicks in, and I'm going to tell you right now, when you're in shape, the adrenaline kicks in, and those things they kind of just go out the window. You're fighting on pure adrenaline.
A ring's a ring.
Yeah, and you're just doing what you practice and you were taught.
So what about a Fury Anthony Joshua fight? You think people want to see that?
I'm going to tell you this right now with Joshua. I'm not sold on his chin.
Yeah.
People may not know this, but the first fight with Andy Ruiz, I called it. I had my friends go bet in Vegas, and we made some good money because I knew Ruiz was going to beat him. Ruiz was like the best kept secret in boxing when we were coming up, and I used to train with him back in the day when I was sparring Berman Stavern.
Wow, that's a big guy too.
Yeah, and Andy, I would spar Stavern first. And then Andy would come in as cleanup.
And who was stronger?
I dropped Stavern.
Jesus Christ,
4 or 5 times.
Monster.
I dropped him 4 or 5 times. Herman knows, about that. Remember that? Yeah, I used to drop Stavern. We would go, and you don't really talk about sparring because anything happens in the gym. It's not really when you talk about the fights in the gym. You have big rewards in the gym sometimes.
Than the actual fight, right?
Yeah, and then with Stavern, we all have our bad days and good days in the gym, but Andy would come in after me, after the work was done with Stavern, and spar with Stavern.
So folks, we got David Rodriguez here, and we would like to thank all my viewers right now as they're climbing the views on the Boxing Reporter. If you want to comment, you can comment right there live on the Boxing Reporter. No phone calls, but just comment there, or comment on our YouTube feed, which have Louis Trevino Jr. there at the helm. And then also our third person on the mic tonight that you will not see on the camera will be my second man here, or right-hand man is also a former pro fighter, is Herman Delgado. So Herman, you want to say hello? You have that third mic on.
Hey, how you guys doing out there?
And David said, right, Herman. Herman, he spoke about Stavern. Did you spar Stavern too?
No,
No?
I didn't. No, Dave did when he was up there in Vegas.
When I was getting ready for the Beck fight, I was sparring everybody.
Right.
I've seen
Man, those are
Rockman.
monsters, Dave.
Man, the hardest I've been hit though, Stavern was, yeah, but see, I got used to his pace was a lazy pace. And
Yeah, he
and
kinda
I would
lethargic.
I just poured it on him, and then I knew like he would have a burst of energy every round, where he would have about a good 25-30 seconds where he would just be a bull, and he would throw a massive 5-6 punch combination, take a little breather, throw it again,
Wow.
and try to take you out. And then once you weather that, then I would just pour it on him and stick on him, and that's how it would just get through him. But the one that hit me the hardest was Hasim Rockman, man. That guy can hit. That guy can, dude. I thought when I was sparring him, I was whooping his ass the first round, and when we were going at it, I was like, can this guy actually be this slow? This is a joke. You know, and then he's like lulling me in with a slow jab, and I was just like falling asleep watching his jab because it was so predictable.
Yeah.
But it was hard. And then all of a sudden, boom! He catches me with the right hand, and I did the chicken dance. I mean, the bell saved me, but it was a man. That guy can hit. You know, he's a hell of a fighter. And we sparred about a good 5-6 rounds.
You got some big names under your belt on the ring, and like you said,
he's fought those guys.
yeah. I mean, I know Herman Delgado fought Hasim Rockman, right, Herman?
Klitschko, everybody.
There's the dad and this.
Yeah, the son right now is making his way up the ranks. He's cool. He called me not too long ago asking about an opponent that I fought that he's fighting next.
And speaking of, they call you, David, you're also going to be, if the Anthony Joshua Pulev fight goes, you're going to be in Pulev's corner because you're good friends with Pulev, right?
I know Pulev. I've met him a couple times, but I'm good friends with Ivalo Gotsev, his promoter. And he's a hell of a guy, man. He's a real spiritual dude. We go way back, man. I lived with him in Vegas, and he made some big fights with Chavez and Kotsuzu. Kotsuzu, yeah.
Kotsuzu. The crazy guy, the one that's
Mayorga. He had Samuel Peter. He's had some good champions. So Ivalo and I go way back. And
wow.
So he told me, he goes, listen, man. I try to do the I try to imitate him, but I don't do well. But he's like, just come to London, man. We're gonna kill it. So
that's another fight. And you know what, Dave? That's another fight we're going to be looking forward to if this shit's over, right? The coronavirus bullshit's over. And we can get these big fights up there. It'll be Joshua and Pulev has a great chance of winning.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with the chin that I've seen in Joshua, I wouldn't doubt Pulev knocking him out, man. Because Pulev is strong. He's consistent. He has a hard jab. He has a strong right hand. He has that European style. It's a very hard style to adapt to. So I can see Pulev for the upset, if you want to call it an upset, because, like I said, I called the Ruiz fight that he was going to knock out Joshua. I think Pulev can knock out Joshua as well.
Wow. And speaking of what to see in the fall, and I hope in the fall, because pretty much our spring and summer cards are over, I think. It takes a toll on fighters, right?
What?
All this. Okay, we're going to cancel.
Is taking a toll on everybody,
right? But especially on a fighter that's scheduled to fight maybe 2 months from now.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't know if he should prepare or not prepare.
It's horrible because now they have to go into maintenance training, which means they can't just slack and eat potato chips and go on the couch. And their body right now is screaming at them to just stop the training.
Oh man!
So they have to keep training through this, and this is the worst time for fighters. Boxing is a year-round sport. It's not like other sports that you have a season and you can train accordingly. Boxing, you don't know when you're going to have a fight. So you're always in the gym. And then you have to turn it up and turn it down, turn it up and turn it down.
Showtime Boxing. And you know what, real quick, Christian Smith is on the line. Christian is a professional ring announcer. Say, what's up, guys?
What's up, Christian? I know you.
Yeah,
what's up, buddy?
Man.
Yeah, he's a professional ring announcer. Hopefully we bring him to El Paso for the clash. Pulev, he said Pulev stunned Klitschko in the first round.
Yeah.
And he did. Pulev is a strong fighter. Showtime Boxing Chief expects a loaded schedule for the fall. Steven Espinosa, the one that's a savior for Showtime.
Yeah, he went to my high school.
He did?
He went to Coronado. He's from here. Yeah.
Steven Espinosa. Yeah. He appeared on the Showtime's Boxing podcast and said that the network's boxing programming will come out of guns blazing once the coronavirus comes to an end.
Yeah.
He said it's going to be a wild ride. There's a lot to be made up, and there is a lot to be made up. We're thirsty for some action in the ring. There's a lot of fighters that need fights to happen, and I think we could be in there for a pretty interesting period of time where there's lots of activity. in a relatively short window, Dave. I think we're going to see an action-packed, jam-packed schedule whenever we return, whether it's in 3, 6, or 9 months, and we may see people taking a different take on tact on taking fights. But nevertheless, we are expecting a big loaded fall schedule for boxing once this is over.
And listen, I'm part of the Impact Network.
Tell us about the Impact Network.
Huge. So these guys are up and coming. So like, okay, so when you talk about Showtime boxing and or like pay-per-view, that's all A boxing, like A side boxing. Like it's like the big fights. Impact, there's no like I don't want to say mediocre fighting or intermediate fighting, but the guys that are trying to build the records and make a name for themselves right now, they really don't have a place to go, except ESPN here and there. But Impact is they're jockeying position to outdo ESPN.
So is it safe to say that the Impact is televising the undercards of the undercards?
The undercards. I wouldn't say the undercards of the undercards. These guys are going to be like 20-0, 15-0. Like they're undefeated prospects.
And sometimes you mention like HBO, Showtime, and even in the pay-per-views, we would never see these guys.
Right.
One thing about
they need to have a platform to fight. They need to have this.
And you're right. Do you think that the Zone has also gave them that? The Zone, if you tune into the Zone, it gives you all the undercards.
Right. But no, you're right. But Impact, what they're doing, they're trying to make a name for themselves, and they're going big. They're having high ratings right now too. Yeah. When I commentated on the Trout fight, that had very high ratings. That was just as high as ESPN or any of that.
You did great, Dave. Yeah. You did awesome announcing. I was like, dude, this guy does it all, man.
It's just when boxing, it's like it's. I can look at someone shadow boxing and tell you exactly what they're going to do, man, within watching 30 seconds of them. I mean, it's really crazy. I've been in this sport for so long, since I was 5 years old. Herman's been in it a long time as well. So when you know the sport at that level, it's like nothing gets by you, man.
You were like, it was so right, Herman? He was just talking like nothing, right?
Yeah, he just relaxed, just looking at.
And you mentioned an Impact Network. Also, what I like about it, they were looking at venues that people wouldn't actually look at. The Mountain Gods was a great venue for boxing.
Oh, right? They loved it, man. They did so well there. The thing about that place is that it's such a high altitude. So the fighters really, I mean, if you're not there a month before, you're going to have a hard time breathing. That's 7,000 feet where these guys were fighting. Wow. So when that's why fighters go into these training camps in the mountains and go train. Like I remember when I used to train with Jimmy Thunder, Ernie Shavers, Tim Pooler, and all them in the mountains in Ruidoso. When we'd come down and fight at sea level, we would be like in such great prime condition that the hemoglobin in your blood, you would just, it would be like nothing. It'd be like walking in the park when you fought. It was so easy to breathe at sea level.
So it's hard for them, right? For breathing.
If you're just coming in to go fight at the Mountain Gods, and you're just showing up, forget it, dude.
I mean, I've even heard of fighters, like one of them was Juan Manuel Marquez, coming up to the mountains in Mezcalero in Ruidoso, New Mexico, and actually train at that altitude. And then also you hear of fighters train in the mountains because of that training that you mentioned in your blood via the bloodstream, right?
Yeah.
Christian Smith has a question for you. He said, question for David. When I saw him in Laredo a couple of weeks ago, he mentioned returning to the ring. Is that a plan still in place, and where will it happen?
Well, I'm telling you what, I'm not working out for the hell of it.
So there is a plan in place.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I don't like working out. There is a plan in place. I'm definitely incrementally working into it. I'm starting to run the track. I'm doing the stadiums. I just had stem cell treatment from Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic and Spa, which I have to give them a shout out.
Big shout out to Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic and Spa.
Yeah, they're huge, and they're growing, and they've really come on board and helped me with my training. They're helping me with my supplementation. They're helping me with. They gave me stem cells.
So you're ready, man. You're getting ready.
Listen, I don't have a family. I don't have a wife and kids. I'm not saying I don't want one. I still have that hunger inside me, that lion, dude. I cannot stop. I can't tame this lion that's in me.
Yeah.
And I've stopped drinking. I've been sober now.
Yeah. Congratulations, David.
Yeah. I mean, Herman was a big inspiration for me because Herman was, you're 10 years now?
Yeah, going on 11.
Yeah.
11 years, man. So, like, for me, I'm 90 days. That's huge for me.
It's a start.
Yeah.
I remember I can look back at that and say, you know what? Man, 90 days, and then next thing you know, it's a year, and then the next thing you know, it just goes on like
and
that.
you know what's crazy, Herman, is I don't even crave the drink anymore, man.
Exactly. You forget about it.
I just don't even crave it anymore.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, I guess you don't drink just one.
No, I go all out. Anything I do, I go full speed. So that's a problem with me. So anything I do when I train, everything I do, it's all the way in.
So going back to Christian Smith's question, so when it's going to happen, of course, you're training. Of course, you don't have a date in mind, of course.
I do.
When is the date?
We're looking at June, July.
Holy shit, June, July. There you hear it, folks.
Yeah, so I'm talking to Impact Network right now. Steve Mercano, Teresa Tapia is going to come on board to be my manager. I want her to be involved because I trust her and she's a good lady. Herman, I want Herman to be working with me as a trainer with the mitts. I might bring Kenny on board to be a second trainer, or however these guys get along. Chemistry is very important.
Kenny who?
Kenny Riley. He's up in Illinois, but he's training AJ Graham right now.
And your training camp would be?
Probably we'd have to do it here for the first one, or talking to. See, I have to talk to Teresa. It could be San Antonio. It could be Albuquerque. It could be El Paso.
Well, if it's El Paso, Dave, you got Warriors Edge boxing.
Yeah. I mean, we'll do it here. I would like to put up my own bag, though.
Yeah, you can put up your own bag.
Okay.
As long as Tiger can use it.
Yeah. That's
Little
fine.
Tiger, little 6-year-old Tiger, right?
Tiger.
Bust it up for me.
He's Tiger and Diego are the staples of the gym, right?
that's cool.
And David, you walk in here, and all the kids, man, they really look up to you, man. You know,
it's crazy.
It gets me to the next question. Anthony Agüero says, "You're a great role model champion. Going to start a watch party. Let's get these views up."
Yeah,
well, thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony. Anthony definitely has a huge following. He's
he does.
Very political guy. He's a great dude. Yeah, he helps out a lot.
Jose Gomez says, "Can you ask David what does he think about fighting in bare knuckle boxing?"
I think I have that's
David.
so
That's okay, man. You tell us.
I'll be honest with this. It's bullshit. It's the boxing is the reason you wear wraps is because you protect your hand like a cast. Is you actually deliver a harder punch. The bare knuckles is like fourth string players that can't, like guys that play arena ball or like they're not in the NFL. They go to bare knuckle. You know what I mean?
All right.
And I'm not putting it down. It takes balls to do that stuff, but it's not the same elite level as boxing. If you're going to be a superstar, you're going to be in boxing. Then it goes from boxing, now MMA's up there with it, but bare knuckles just coming up right now. It's definitely an anomaly type thing. Like people want to watch it. It's like
legalized a bar brawl.
Yeah, but
that's what it is.
But it's you're not gonna. The reason you wear gloves is to protect your hands and to deliver a more brutal knockout. People don't understand those gloves are hard.
Yeah.
I don't know what people think, like, oh, they're padded. No, man, those gloves are very hard. The leather's solid. When you deliver that shot, boom, it hurts more than bare knuckles, man. And I've been hit with both.
So I guess you're not going to be fighting bare knuckles anytime soon.
Never.
There's your answer. What do you think of MMA, David?
I appreciate it more now that I didn't really care about it in the beginning. I was like, it's junk fighting. And then I started hanging out with Nate Diaz, and they started showing me, and I started having a more appreciation for it.
Like a science, right?
Yeah.
It's a science.
And then,
there's technique to it.
Yeah, and definitely, it's just a different animal. It's just a different type of sport. And I respect it. I do. I respect it. I respect it as much as boxing. I love boxing more because I feel boxing plays out dramatically for 12 rounds. And you got to let the guy get up. And I mean, when you knock someone down and you have to let them get up, you can't just jump on them and finish them.
Yep.
That's a lot harder, man, because you have to go to your corner, a neutral corner, and wait to the count for him to get up. And then when he gets up, he may have a whole different game plan, or he may come out fighting harder. It's hard, man. It's a way different thing. I used to hate knocking guys down and then see them get back up. I used to hate it with this guy. When I drop a guy and be like, I'd run back to the neutral corner thinking, please stay down, please stay down, please stay down. And then, damn it, he's up, and I don't know what kind of guy's coming after me now.
Yeah, he's pissed off now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
Let me see. I'm going to run some names to you, see if you and you tell me about some of the names here. The Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame executive team members and partners have postponed the highly anticipated fourth annual induction weekend in association with Boxing Con to the fall of 2020 due to the severity of the coronavirus pandemic. The event was set to take place on the weekend of June 26th through the 28th. A new date will be announced later. Some of the inductees will be Roy Jones.
Oh,
Jr.
I agree with that.
And I know you know Roy Jones, huh?
Yeah, I met Roy Jones a few times, and Roy he's a good dude.
You're a friend of his, right?
Yeah. He's a class act, and I got to say, we were about to fight when I was coming up. When I was like 33-0, 32-0. Like
at what weight class?
Heavyweight, because
really?
he was going back and forth. So
yeah, he was always going back and forth.
But that never transpired. I mean, obviously. But honestly, I think pound for pound, he was the best ever.
Right?
Him and Sugar,
Sugar Ray Leonard?
No.
Sugar Ray Robinson?
Robinson, there you go. Sugar. I don't know why I forgot that, but yeah, Sugar Ray Robinson. I think those two were just, man. I mean, just a level above everybody.
Wow. Riddick Bowe was another one.
Yeah, Riddick Bowe is probably one of the best heavyweights out there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Riddick
I mean,
Bowe.
come on.
He's trying to make a comeback. I don't know if you
shouldn't
knew.
do that.
He's trying to.
Yeah. He shouldn't be doing that.
Pernell Whitaker, Ernest Bean, Tony Thornton Sr., Sergio Martinez, Calvin Grove, Al Cole, Percy.
Al Cole, wow.
Al Cole, that's right.
Yeah, he was a great cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight. You really don't hear much about cruiserweights, right?
No, because they're either going to, it's like pick one. Light, heavy,
light, heavy, or heavy, right?
Yeah.
Percy Richardson, Tommy Parks.
Tommy Parks, yeah.
Earl Morton. Steve Weisfield. Ron Katz. Murad Muhammad.
Gosh, these are 80s guys.
Yeah, huh? Mark Abrams.
Yep.
Abrams. Al Bernstein, the Showtime commentator.
Oh, yeah. I think he had, there's a possibility he might be commentating on Impact. I don't know if that's a rumor or not, but cool. He might come on board with us. So right now it's me and BJ Flores.
There you go. I was going to ask you, who's your partners there? It's BJ Flores.
Me and BJ Flores and Tawan. Let me see. The last one was Tawan, BJ, and myself. And then Roy Jones, and I've heard rumors of, I've heard rumors that Tarver and Roy Jones will be commentating with us. So, I don't know.
And Dave, real quick, Nitro mentioned the Impact Network. Where can people see this, and how can they get wind of when fights are coming up there, or when this is all over, right?
Right now, you can't really see anything, but
how can they see that? How can they
Impact
get to
is on everything. It's on Dish. It's on Comcast.
Oh, so they got to subscribe to it.
Yeah, we have an ATU-verse, so it's on there. It's on everything.
How much is it?
No, it's free. It's on cable. It's free. That's why it's so big. That's why the ratings were so high, is because there was so many people tuning in. It was free boxing, you know.
And you know what, Dave? It's like live streaming is taking over, and it's the killer of pay-per-view boxing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I miss HBO boxing.
I miss it. That's my favorite. Dave, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Lampley.
The show before the fights.
What was it called? 24/7.
24/7.
Everybody would try to mimic and mirror, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
I grew up watching HBO boxing. Let me tell you, for both of you guys, one of the most memorable fights that I'll never forget, and it was HBO boxing that made me the biggest boxing fan, was, my skin's already getting all crazy and I'm getting all emotional. It's Mickey Ward versus Arturo Gatti.
Man. Yeah. The best, man, right?
Jesus Christ, those were goddamn fucking fights, man.
Yeah, those were the fights,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
Yeah.
Then Jim Lampley going all out. And this is the round of the year.
Yeah.
And Mickey Ward. And
two just blockbuster guys just throwing
and it
blows.
was HBO After Dark. Remember that?
Yeah.
And you know what was the beauty of it? It was, if you had HBO, it was HBO free.
Yeah.
Kind of free. You know what I mean?
It just had that flavor.
It had that flavor to boxing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Arturo Gatti always brought the fight, man. And so did Ward. So those two guys, like, here's the analogy I always use. There's a little static in my headphones. Here's the analogy I always use, is that you always, in boxing, for me, I always want to see the bull against the bull. It's like a bullfight. You want to either see the bull against the bull or the matador against the bull. You don't, unless you're a boxing enthusiast and you absolutely love boxing, you can tolerate to watch the matador against the matador.
All right.
Usually you want to see the bull versus the matador, or the bull versus the bull. And in that fight, it was the bull versus the bull.
And you know what? Let me tell you, nobody knew Mickey Ward.
No, man.
I didn't know he was.
Yeah.
I mean, only big-time boxing fans at the time knew who this kid was. But this kid was a warrior. Yeah. If you go to an encyclopedia and you say the definition of warrior, you would see them.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Man.
Jesus Christ.
Man. And the body shots, right? The body shots.
I think that's why we have the static on the mic. I'm all excited.
Mickey Ward has that body shot.
Hey, let me tell you, round 10 of number one fight, or round 6, I believe, I show it to the cadets because it was back and forth, and I show it to some of the kids at the gym. I show it to my sons. You want to see a fight? You want to see? You want to see heart? You got to see that round of the year, round 6, I believe, and 8.
Easily
back.
Well,
and then
there's nothing as great as the first 3 rounds of Hagler Hearns.
Okay, but let me tell you, I was real young, man, to really kind of remember that.
I remember watching that fight.
Right, that was good.
I mean, I've seen it in
the war,
stationed at Treasure Island. I remember watching that fight.
Right. So let me go back to Gotti Ward. Part 2 was as good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? And
both
part
of them
3
lived up to the hype.
The trilogy.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
When we talk about these wars in HBO, there was other ones. Do you remember Diego Chico Corrales against Jose Luis Castillo?
That was amazing,
Jose
man.
Luis Castillo.
That was a brutal fight. Yeah, Castillo got knocked out, right? Because Corrales got him. Right?
Yeah, but
and then
Corrales spit out his mouthpiece 2 times, and
Right.
Tony Weeks.
That's right.
Which I met Tony Weeks at Vado. Great guy, man. He was going to stop the fight, gave him a warning, took a point away.
He told
right?
Goosen, wasn't it Goosen?
Can you find out what round was it, Louis? On the what round was round of the year for the Mickey Ward Arturo Gatti fight? And then we'll
think
get
it
back
was
to that.
10.
You know
Was it
what?
10?
I was up till 4 this morning. I was watching Muhammad Ali and George Foreman and Zaire. And then I watched Duran and Michael Moore.
Michael Moore.
Oh, man, what a fight. Then I watched him, Duran, Pipino Cuevas.
Pipino
Cuevas,
Cuevas.
Just
yeah.
tore him up, man. He tore him up.
You know who I used to like to watch, Herman, was Salvador Sanchez.
Oh, yeah.
That guy was a beautiful boxer, master
he
of
was.
boxing. He died too young.
He died
Way
young.
too young.
But what about the heavyweight fight between Ron Lyle and George Foreman, man?
Oh, that's another one. Yeah.
That was like a bar fight, dude.
That
It was
almost like the,
slugfest.
Shavers and Muhammad Ali. It went what? It went 15 rounds.
15. Hey, so 12 rounds or 15 rounds, David?
What do I like better?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to go home early anytime.
So 12 rounds?
I mean,
Should we keep it 12 rounds? Because you mentioned 15 rounds, Herman.
people
Yeah,
were
no,
dying really
those were
like,
the-
left and right to win 15 rounds. People were collapsing all the time from dehydration and blood clots, and people were dying.
Yeah, you look
You
at
know.
that Dooku Kim fight. Man, Mancini just took
And
it
that's
to
when
him.
they stopped,
That's
right?
when they
yeah,
stopped it right
that was
there.
one of the last 15-round
Exactly.
fights. Juan Silva said, what about Rafael Marquez and Israel Vasquez? They also fought a
Yeah.
trilogy, I believe.
What happened to those guys?
But those were Showtime fighters.
yeah, I mean,
that
I
wasn't
haven't really heard
Showtime.
of any of either of them again after that.
And let me tell you about those 2 fighters. And again, with all due respect, I think they were made for each other.
Yeah.
And that's all they were made for.
Right, and then that
Because
was it.
that was it.
Yeah.
Rafael Marquez was Juan Manuel Marquez. Juan Manuel Marquez's brother, but that was it. Those
like-
guys were made for each other.
You got
Yeah.
Juan Manuel Marquez and Pac-Man. Those
Yeah.
guys were made for the same
Yeah,
thing.
but if you saw Marquez fight, he still fought like Joseph Baby Bull Diaz, he
Yeah.
fought Katsidi,
Yeah.
and Marquez kept on as probably for me one of the best fighters ever. For me,
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, Nacho, his trainer, what's
Nacho
his name?
Beristain.
Beristain. Yeah, he was working on that right hand with him. They knew they were going to catch Pacquiao coming
Yep.
in.
Yeah, they knew.
I've seen that
and
training.
Marquez is about ready, from what I understand, I heard, I don't know, that he was about ready to quit. Like, it was about over. They were going to throw in the towel
Which
because
fight was
was
this one?
taking a
when he
beating.
knocked out Pacquiao.
Oh,
fight.
he
that
knocked him
fight.
out.
Before
Yeah,
he knocked
the
out
fourth
Pacquiao,
fight.
he was about ready to, they were about to throw in the towel for Marquez because he was done. His nose was badly broken.
Wow.
He could not breathe.
Again.
Yeah, and he could not breathe. He had no oxygen, and then all of a sudden, boom! Pacquiao came in right at the right angle, and he let that right hand go and just
Nobody would
like
get
a-
up from that punch.
that was man. I thought he died.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
just
thought he
left
did
him
too. And if you look at the 24/7 on HBO, they worked on that right hand
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
exactly.
He had a lot of explosion drills, a lot of not CrossFit.
They worked on in the mitts with that.
a lot of power, and yeah, he did great. Did you find the round, Louis?
9.
It was the ninth round of the
Ninth
first
round.
fight
Okay,
of the.
10th round with Holyfield and Bo was a big one.
Okay,
Yeah,
and here's
okay, that's where I got confused.
Jose Gomez said a best heavyweight fight on HBO was Holyfield versus Riddick
Yeah,
Bowe.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. That was
Is that when the
Whoa.
guy came in, flew in?
Yeah.
yeah. Well, on the
no,
Caesar's
the parachute?
Palace.
All three of them were really great fights.
Yeah, they were good.
But
fights.
that was that parachute guy.
Yeah.
That it was
Took a
outside.
beating,
Who
man.
was that dude, man?
I don't know, but they beat him up pretty bad.
Yeah, they fucked him up.
That was the best fight. He got his ass fucking delivered to him, dude. Like, did you see that one guy beating the shit out of him with a brick himself?
Yeah, it's
up?
like we're not done yet.
Hey, and
was
that was at Caesar's Palace,
Yeah.
open arena, open
Oh, I
venue.
miss those, man.
Yeah.
It's like the movies, dude. I miss the drive-in. It's like the. I mean, dude, it's like that
not
open
the
air
same
is
no
just
more.
the best. I personally, though, did not like fighting outside.
Why not?
I hate it. Well, I fought in Michigan against who was it? Dan Wetzel. He was an All-Marine champion. Tough dude, man. I was actually kind of worried about that guy.
Yeah.
And I remember when I fought him in Michigan, it was humid as shit, man. It was like 115. And like 95% humidity was like disgusting. And I remember I was in my dressing room. My trainers kept telling me, "Hey, sit down, relax." They would put ice on me. And this was before the fight. And when I went out to the fight, it was in the ballpark, it's called Third Ballpark or something like that. I can't remember the name. Fifth Ballpark, something like that. It was a weird name. But it was in the ballpark, and I remember like the sun. He was in the corner where the sun was going down. The sun was setting, so the sun was in my eyes, and I was like, "Holy shit, man! So I had to position myself in the ring when I was fighting him to not have that glare of the sun in my eyes.
So that's another thing you got to worry about.
Yeah, dude, it
That's
was
another thing you can use to your advantage or disadvantage.
yeah. I had to get him out of there quick, so I just turned it up on all cylinders, man.
Wow.
And I just started working with him in the jab. He had a tough-ass chin. I didn't drop him, but it was a TKO, and I just unleashed on him. And finally, man, the ref stepped in, and I was like, thank you, God.
Christian Smith said the De La Hoya fight. Yes, Christian, the De La Hoya fight when he fought Carpentier was outside at the Sun Bowl. And, yeah, we talk about outside venues. That fight was on HBO. And the problem with that fight is that they had to lower the lights. The light bar because it was too windy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was in March that the fight was here in the windy season here in El Paso. Like everything.
Well, it's just that, there should be unknown factors when you're fighting outside. It's awesome when you see Holyfield Bowe fighting in the night sky in the Las Vegas sunset and it's beautiful the skyline.
You never know.
But yeah, you gotta have a fan man drop in on your ring.
Anthony Joshua Reese was raining.
Yeah, that's crazy. But they have a big but it was raining. Yeah, but everyone else. Yeah, everyone else is getting rained on.
But like you said, damn, it's so unpredictable. Vadio, New Mexico, the last pro fight that
Teresa did.
That Teresa did, the Johnny Tapia Invitational. The night before, it rained and it flooded the entire racetrack. So the beer tents, the VIPs were all shot. I mean, I got there early in the morning because it was a pro-am.
Yeah.
We took our team out there, and it was all fucked up. It was flooded, right, Louis? It was very bad, man. It was horrible.
Yeah, there's too many unknown factors, when you're doing a fight outside.
And before I forget, talking about the Vadio New Mexico Speedway, we know Warriors Edge Boxing promotes the wing sprint car of Brandon Scher, number 21. Cool. So we'll be out there this season as soon as this coronavirus is over. We'll be out there supporting number 21. You know Brandon Herman.
Oh yeah, good guy.
Right,
his
good
wife,
guy.
Megan.
They sponsor a kid here at the gym, and we're gonna this year. It's gonna be cool guys at the race car. It's a professional race car because it's gonna have everybody's name that participated in Golden Gloves, all the kids' names on the race car with the Warriors Edge logo.
You didn't fit in that car.
I'd really like to see.
No, I don't fit. I don't think we don't fit. Guys, it took me an hour to put a leg in there.
We're too big, Louis.
And then he took a picture of me, Herman.
Yeah, I got
How
pictures.
tall are you, man? You're like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, 6'3" and a half.
Yeah, you're there, man.
But I couldn't fit, man. I mean, I had one. It looked like a baby giraffe with the legs all fucking bone-legged. I just couldn't get up, man. A baby fat giraffe. I remember Herman. I got stuck too, man.
Yeah, that was funny.
Brandon gets it. I mean, it's a tight space. It's those wing sprint cars.
Yeah,
that go almost 200 miles per hour.
Yeah, they're crazy. Yeah, I've been out there many times. It's nuts.
It's
nuts.
But
when they wreck, dude, it's like
they flip.
Yeah, it's bad. You couldn't pay me to do that.
So just imagine, man. So that'll be fun with us. All right. So the next topic here, we're going to talk about. Well, we can just discuss anything. Oscar De La Hoya says that Justin has been served. Chairman and CEO of Golden Boy Promotion has issued the following statement in response to the World Boxing Organization's the WBO. If you're on YouTube, I got the picture of decision to reinstate Francone Cruz de Zone as its super middleweight world champion. He said that Justin has been served. The WBO has made the correct decision by reinstating the heavy-hitting diva as its super middleweight world champion. Although things take time, it's always great to see justice in action. What he's talking about is Alejandra Jimenez, the one that you see on the picture there, tested positive for a banned substance.
Yeah, you think? How many?
You think?
I mean, as you see her, she's very.
Her arms are bigger than mine, dude.
Right? She tested positive, so Justin has been served. It was a great fight. But when you talk about memorable fights, David, let me tell you about this fight, okay?
Okay.
About the guy. I mean, what has happened in boxing? The guy that comes in with a parachute.
Right.
Brawl in the middle of the ring when Sav Judah Galata
and Bo,
right? Or in the stands,
right?
Or what else crazy things I've seen in boxing before I get to what I saw in this
last night I was watching that Assault in the Ring, the Billy Collins, Louis Resto.
That was out?
That was sad. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Or the loaded hands from Antonio Margarito.
He took the padding out.
If you see this picture here, you see her?
Yeah.
Cruz, this one, it's a wig. So I'd never seen when she got punched, the wig came flying.
Come on, man.
I'm not. Yeah, and then
how are you allowed to even wear a wig in the ring?
No idea. And then the trainer, am I right, Louis? The trainer, she's trying to hold her. She's getting knocked out.
That's like me and Louis this past Golden Gloves, trying to fix the hair on Kayla.
Yeah, but she didn't have a wig. So this girl has a wig on, And she's worrying about it, and her trainer says, "Fuck the wig, get it out of your head. We got a fight to make." So that was a distraction, and that was the funniest shit. I had never seen something like that in boxing. The wig's flying, and she's worrying about the wig. Really?
Dude, I don't watch women fights. I just don't do. I'm just old school, bro. I think it's just not my thing. I mean, I can say for me, I think it's grotesque. That's me though, man. I mean, hey, I can say what I want to express how I want to feel, but I do not watch it. I refuse to watch it. It's just it's unattractive, man. I mean, everyone has their taste, right? I have the right to my own.
Yeah,
so I mean, it's like watching the best at like 10th place. It's like, why do I want to watch that?
I'll tell you what. I'll watch women's boxing over women's basketball.
I'm the opposite.
I can't even watch that.
Right, because I know...
I will watch women's tennis. Those are some badass chicks, like Serena. And
I'm not saying they're badass, but I mean, I think for boxing, I'm not too much into the women's basketball because I don't get into it. And I guess I don't have that much exposure on TV.
You just want to see layups.
Right? Or
I like beach volleyball.
I'm going to get eaten alive for this shit.
Beach volleyball, the Olympics, that's good stuff.
But, I mean, going back, so that's what's going on. Going back to the loaded schedule at the fall, Hearn has backup dates for May fights. For example, the fights are going to be May the 2nd. Dylan White.
Yeah.
He's a big contender.
He's tough, yeah. In fact, Alonzo, my friend, Big Zoe, was the guy that fought on Impact. He was a heavyweight that knocked out the...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't much of a fight. It wasn't much of a test.
Yeah, he was in the first fight of the night, right?
Right. Yeah,
big
Butler.
guy.
I think he called out Dylan White, but I think it's still a little too premature for him.
Well, Dylan White's got to get past Alexander Povatkin.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
That's going to be May 2nd. May 23rd.
Povatkin's tough for anybody.
And I believe, Dave and Herman, that these fights will be canceled. But these are the fights.
And when are they? In May?
2nd.
May.
I don't know. I think
May
this is May
23rd is Usyk, which is going up to heavyweight.
Yeah, he's
against
tough, man.
Derek Chisora.
He has one of those tough styles, man.
Of course, man.
You know, these European guys. When I used
Why are they so tough, man?
They just have an unconventional style that you're not used to. It's not an American style. Yeah. They sit on their back leg and they have a real stiff jab, and it's completely different than the American style.
Yep.
And so when you're an American fighter or from Mexican fighter or American fighter, you're more of a bob weave, get inside, throw your punches, angles, stuff like that. These guys have a whole different set of style. They sit back on their back leg and they have a hard ass jab.
And those elbows come into play.
Exactly. These European fighters come to fight, man.
And they don't have the head movement the conventional head movement that an American or Mexican fighters do. They have this kind of weird, like they sway a little bit and they jerk and then they throws your whole style off, man. I used to hate to fight those.
And you're right.
Yeah.
And then for June, they pushed the Joshua Pula fight June 20th.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean,
that's supposed to be at Wembley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, at the O2 Arena.
Oh, that's right. That's a nice arena. Yeah,
but see, you look at this fight, the one on May the 2nd, and these guys will train like they're fighting May the 2nd. Then next thing you know, they're going to change it, and boom, they got to bring everything back down.
Yeah, right. You're right.
It sucks.
You're right.
It's horrible that people don't understand. Like fighters, man, that's the roughest life you can have. It's like there's all these kids that tell me that come up to me and ask me, hey, what can I do to be a fighter like you and get to your level or whatever? I'm like, you better be obsessed with the sport and in love with the sport. It better be your first love over women, social life, any of that. It has to be first and foremost, because when I lost, I went all the way to 36-0. But I was in love with the sport. As soon as I started feeling like a slave to the sport, or like the pressure mounted on me too much and I was out being a fucking alcoholic and drinking and just being a mess, that's when I lost. I started taking the fights too easy. And another thing, I was terrified for every fight I ever had. Herman knows. But the two fights I lost, I overlooked those guys. I looked at them like bums. I was like, fuck. I was like, I'm going to go through these guys like a knife through butter. And boom, I lost.
The minute you feel that you're on top of your game.
The first fucking time that I felt like, this is it, I'm going to go right through these guys, this is no big deal, walk in the park, I lost.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what, you're a pro fighter, prize fighter, and it's even harder on the kids, right? On the amateur program.
Yeah.
Because they're not as disciplined as...
No.
It's hard.
They're testing it out. They're seeing what they want to do.
And then they're growing up.
Yeah. And then they get popped in the face a
girlfriends.
few times, they're like, forget this.
And amateur boxing is gonna take a big hit after this. Speaking of amateur boxing, the AIBA hope suspension lifted. AIBA got suspended from the Olympics, and hopefully they get lifted before, because they, another serious thing of this coronavirus. Jesus Christ, they suspended the Olympics.
Yeah,
When you hear that, that's the mecca of sports.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
that the coronavirus is big, right?
No, dude, it's fuck yeah. No,
Amateurs boxing international governing body should be able to complete its reforms and its suspension before the Tokyo Games are held in 2021. A Russian boxing official who also holds a senior position at AIBA said no on Wednesday. There's just a lot of corruption going on there. So, we'll see if AIBA gets back on track.
Here's the thing, though, man, and here's my thing. Here's my beef with amateur boxing and the millennials or the generation. What it's a new generation now. It's whatever it is. Dude, everyone's on their phones. Everyone's on social media. Nobody gives a shit about training hard anymore. And that tough ass mentality you have to be a fighter. You can't be looking at your phone all day, and these kids are they're not bred the same way we were when we were fighting, Herman. Like, the way we came up, we were running in combat routes, waking up at 5 in the morning, running 4-6 miles, and then coming back training, and then going back and training again, and then training again.
And walking to the gym.
And yeah, dude, it was a whole nother life. And then if you felt sick, if you had the flu, you still had to train.
And you see me on that. I'm pretty harsh about the phones, putting them away. But again, it's a new generation, and it's like
just I don't see how it can
patty cake.
Yeah, I just don't see how amateur boxing can really thrive. It's like this patty ass like cupcake generation.
Well, and you know what? Dave, you mentioned that, and me and Herman discussed it last week at the on our last podcast, that it's like they say, if they build it, they will come. But you know what, the LBC does, I believe, everything in their power. They show up, they put the ring up, but man, there was no fighters, huh? Like there's so much fighters that we lack.
Like I said, there's fighters that don't want to fight because this guy has more fights than them, and
it's crazy.
And it's just like, what do you train for? What do you train for?
What do you train for?
It's like,
I remember, like the Golden Gloves. Remember, Herman, how brutal it used to be? Those guys used to throw down.
And you fought for 3 days.
Yes.
It wasn't like one, you're just going to fight in the championship bout.
Yeah.
No, you would get there and let's go.
Yeah, it was 3 days of fights, and I'm talking it would be a knockout, drag out. Just, man, dudes getting their teeth. I mean, it was a brutal fight. Every amateur fight I would see. Now, I don't know. I mean, I don't. It's just like they touch and move and touch and move. Back in the day when the amateurs were going, when me and Herman were going, it was different. A whole different breed, dude.
Yeah, and we've discussed it in past podcasts how the amateur program has felt because of the kids, right? It's a different breed. I mean,
there's a lot of good fighters out there.
Yeah, a lot of good fighters.
It's just too bad that they don't want to fight.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're good fighters for a weekend.
Yeah.
They don't want to train.
Warriors.
Now you tell a fighter, you're going to fight tomorrow. The first question they ask you is, who?
So,
yeah, just
who
fight.
cares? You're going to fight.
and you know what? Yeah,
why?
And you know what? It's just not.
How many fights does he have?
Just overall everywhere, man.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a different mentality, dude.
Mentality.
But you got to remember, we also came up in the generation where our parents used to beat our ass.
Yeah,
you can't do that anymore. It's like,
or a generation that our parents never showed up to our fights.
Right.
Or baseball.
Yeah,
I would watch and practice.
Yeah,
I already played. Okay.
Yeah. And we didn't have the video games. We weren't sitting in front of the TV all day playing video games. I mean, people take this like it's a sport, and it's just like, dude.
Yeah, it's not a sport.
No, it's just not, dude. I mean,
and I bet you now, Dave and Herman can attest to this. There's more opportunities. There's more boxing gyms.
Yeah. But people come. The sport has evolved, if we want to say evolved, it's gone in the direction of people just like to come in and be a badass for 2 days out of the week, and get conditioning boxing, train like a boxer, and then go home and play on their phone and do whatever they want to do. They don't want to live like a boxer. A boxer is a lifestyle.
And you see a lot of boxers now, and that's funny. I see a lot of professional boxers now, even amateurs, that post videos every day of them working out, what they're eating, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Show me the real training, man.
Yeah.
Just get in the gym and concentrate on the training. I don't want to know that you worked out today and that you did 10 rounds or 5 rounds.
I mean, and you're right. Real quick, Christian Smith said, is Usyk too short at 6'3" to compete with Joshua Wilder and Fury? Maybe.
No, that doesn't mean nothing. Everything's
nothing,
timing.
right?
It doesn't mean shit.
Don't mean nothing.
No, that never meant anything.
Usyk is a heavy hitter too, man. Right?
Yeah. I mean, dude, heavyweight boxing does not matter about height or size unless you can utilize it. And look at Mike Tyson, one of the greatest heavyweights ever. He was
short.
5'10".
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, the toughest fights I've ever had were against guys 5'9", 5'10". I'm not kidding.
Wow. And you're a big guy, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest fights were the tall guys, because I have a style that doesn't fit my physique. Like I was an inside fighter, which made no sense for people. So I would always come in and bring the fight. I was a brawler. I didn't sit back on my jab and box, have a graceful boxing style. I came in to fight. And that would throw everyone off. And that's why I got so many first round knockouts. One of the big differences
with you is that left hook to the body.
Yeah.
A lot of people, that's why I preach the body hooks. The body fight, it takes more out of you than anything else in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I caught like 3,
you attack
4
the body,
fights,
the head will die.
I saw that. It was power.
Yeah.
Before we get into more questions, Dave, tell us really quick about your book, man, When the Lights Go Out.
When the lights go out, that was really just a therapeutic release. I wrote that book. It started off as a diary, just a reflection on my life. It was after I got stabbed in the throat. I got like 369 stitches, almost died.
Jesus.
And then I got knocked out. So my whole life went upside down. So I basically just dug deep inside, and I wrote that book in a month on my iPhone, 300 pages. I don't know how the hell I did. I took it as a training camp, and I locked myself away, didn't talk to anybody, and wrote the book. And I knew I just had to finish it, and it was therapy. It was purely cathartic. And when I did that, it was just raw. It was raw. It was truthful and raw. And I had second thoughts of putting it out there, but I did, and I've gotten a lot of good reviews off it. So I'm very proud of the book.
Where can people get the book?
Amazon.
When the Lights Go Out.
When the Lights Go Out on Amazon.
From Survivor to Champion, David
it's
Rodriguez.
Got five stars down the pipeline.
David Rodriguez talks about his life when he got stabbed, his troubles in and outside of the ring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Outside the ring more so than anything.
Right. So that's the book, folks, When the Lights Go Out. Folks, if you're just joining us, we'd like to say hello to a lot of people that are live right now. You are live here with heavyweight champion, prize fighter, David Rodriguez, Thomas McKay, Zurdo Garcia, Christian Smith, George Garcia. Just thank you for being on the show.
Tom McKay, what's up? I heard you in the hospital. I hope you're okay, man.
Tom McKay said he's out, but he's doing better. The guy keeps going, right?
Dude, he's like
he
an
inducted you into the El Paso Boxing Hall of Fame, right?
Tom, a lot of people say, we've had our differences, but I love Tom to death. He trained me since I was 5 years old, and he's the one that introduced me into the sport.
Wow. So
Tom was the first one to lace up the gloves for me.
And when you're talking about old school, there's no more old school people like that.
And there's no more teachers. There's trainers, but there's no teachers. So you can have all the trainers out there. Like I look at UFC trainers as trainers. Boxing trainers back in the day were teachers. There's none of those anymore. There's probably Floyd Mayweather Sr., Roger Mayweather who just passed, but it's very rare you have those teachers. And I had a great teacher. Louis Burke is a teacher. Okay, Louis Burke's a great trainer. So I used to hate the motherfucker, but now I'm friends with him. We're cool. But he's a teacher, and he's a great trainer.
And Louis is a big staple in boxing, man.
He's a beautiful trainer,
and he's a dying breed.
He's fucking crazy, but he's a great trainer. I'm not gonna lie to you, man.
Shout out to Louis.
Louis is a great trainer. Yes, he is.
Daniel Vasquez on the show as well. David Arrieta. Justin Kelly, we'd like to say hello to all you guys. Thank you for being on the show. Gail Hodges. How many amateur fights did you have? A question from Louis.
I didn't have many. I had maybe 20.
20?
Yeah, I had 20.
When did you decide to go pro then?
Well, I was doing it recreationally when I started boxing at 5, and then they would have the high school division, which was 1 minute rounds, and I would just fight in that. Back in the day, remember that, Herman?
What do you mean high school?
They had a high school division.
Yeah, it was called high school division.
But not in the high schools.
No. I don't know.
It was just called high school division.
Yeah.
And wherever you trained or whatever area you trained in, you just took that, hey, I'm representing Sled High School. That's how I got my first.
Yeah. And it was just 1 minute round, so I really didn't have to train all that hard. And I would just have some fights doing that. I did a few of those, and then I stepped it up. And then really when I, probably about 14, I had like 3 or 4 of those, and then when I was 14 years old, I had my first big fight. They still had me at 0-0, and I fought the junior Olympic champion in Las Cruces at the Enchilada Festival, and he had like 200 fights, and it was my first fight, and I knocked him out in the second round, man. But dude, it was like I got my ass kicked the first round. I got my ass kicked, dude. And then I came out and knocked him out, thank God. But then I had some more fights. Fought at the Enchilada Festival a few more times. Fought in the Gloves a couple of times, and then I went pro. I just said, my style's made more for the pros. Right. And Louis Burke was like, "You want to do this?" I was like, "Let's go, let's roll."
And you know what? When you went pro, a lot of people supported you in El Paso, huh?
Oh, I had the mixture. I mean,
Mixture.
it was just like,
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, some people supported me, some people hated me. I mean, it was just, that's what hurt the most was I'm like, dang, man, I'm a hometown kid, and like, there's so many people that have so much animosity towards me.
Really? I mean, I know the first fight. And people don't know this, but my first ring announcing gig was you.
Oh, that's right.
And it was my wife's birthday too. And
I remember that.
Seferino Entertainment said, "Hey, Tree, you want to do a a championship fight televised too?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." And let me ask
That's
the boss.
right. Yeah.
And the boss
I
said,
remember
"Yeah."
that now.
And I go, "Hey, don't worry, baby. You're gonna get ringside seats. We got the Bob Euchre seats. Way the fuck up there." And that just still reminds me of it.
You know, you're talking about boxing, how the fans yes and no. It's I was always like the wrestler. I was the bad guy. And I really didn't give a shit about you booed me. You paid to get in.
Yeah. Dude, I remember watching Herman fight at the surf club.
I didn't really care. I didn't care. They didn't pay
Why
my
did
bills.
that not surprise me, Herman?
I just
Herman never gave a shit.
pissed off people.
He
And
still doesn't.
I could
No,
care
he
less.
doesn't give a fuck. But you know, Herman. The thing about Herman was, I remember him. I remember him fighting at the surf club back in the day when I guess Sacco used to put those on, right? Bob Sacco.
We got an old poster here.
What was his name? The guy from Big Wally's and the surf club.
Devlin.
Pat Devlin.
What happened to that dude?
I don't know.
Gosh, dude, I saw him in Juarez one time. Like, oh, dude, I must have been like 18 or something like that. He was with some girl that looked about my age. I was like, damn, bro. Yeah, man, Pat Devlin.
But it was pretty good shows out there.
Yeah, good shows. Chris Gomez once, can David recall his first fight and what he felt? First pro fight, I believe?
Yeah, man, it was, I didn't sleep for like a week. I fought James Martin at the Houston Sheraton Astrodome. And I remember I was just thinking to myself, this was like the big one. That was the one to break the ice. That was going to be your first fight. Is just like the craziest feeling because you can't believe you're doing this. You don't know if you want to do it. I don't know what was going to happen. And I remember I went out there and knocked him out quick in the first minute of the first fight, and I wasn't satisfied. I wanted him to get back up. I wanted to keep. I loved that adulation. Yeah, I love that adulation and glory so much. And man, boy, it was the best night of my life was the first fight, man.
Right? How much did you make, man?
Like $800.
Not bad for your first fight.
I mean, first fight, you know.
And how long ago was this?
99, 98.
Not bad, $800, right?
That's what it was, the 4-rounder.
What do you think of USA Boxing National Office recommending the gym closures across the nation due to the virus? And they've expanded it to April 30th.
They got to do what they got to do. I mean, we got to follow people. We can't have people getting sick, you know. I mean, you got to follow orders.
Dave, what do you think of this coronavirus? I mean,
you want to do another podcast?
In a nutshell. Well, we're going to bring you back, but
okay.
Just in a nutshell, man. I know you've been very vocal about it, and not to offend nobody, but what do you think?
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you.
You know you like all this, man.
I do, but people can't understand it.
I had that great show called Conspiracy Theory.
It's not a conspiracy theory. This is a globalist hit. If people understand what globalism is, what the cabal is, it's a globalist hit on Trump, on America. They're trying to bring down America, these special interests that control us, that control this country. I'm being serious. And it's the virus is being used as a weapon. It's a biological weapon out of a Wuhan research lab. And it's being used to bring in immediate martial law. It's used to take away our rights.
Wow.
And it's to overthrow Trump. They can't impeach him. They can't do this. They can't do that. He's not playing by the rules. Let's take him out this way.
And
so Trump is using this right now.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but they would go to these measures almost martial law.
It's about control.
They haven't even asked about those two guys that got kicked out of our country that went back to there's a big, out of all the investigations, nothing's been asked about. There was two spies, two people that were intelligence, and they went back to Wuhan.
Yeah.
And
wow, I didn't know about that.
So,
yeah, I've been reading about that.
Also, you got to understand that. So Trump is using this now as an operation. It's like basically Operation White Rabbit, and what they're doing is they're taking like 160,000 indictments, and they're taking down everybody. They're taking out all the pedophilia rings. Big time celebrities are coming out with the virus. If you notice that, prime ministers. Big CEOs are stepping down. 50 or so plus CEOs are stepping down from their companies, like Disney and this and that. This ain't just all a coincidence, dude. Trump is a masterful counterpuncher. He's using this for a big takedown sweep, and he's cleaning up the deep sweep. And then listen, and it should be clear in about 2 to 3 weeks. And what's happening is, what's going to happen, I'm pretty confident. And what's going to happen is this sweep, we're going to drain the swamp, take everybody out. And probably by Easter time, like Trump has said, it's probably going to start clearing up. But things are never going to go back to normal immediately. It's going to take some time. But once this is done, pay close attention, because we might have our communications taken out as well. Those things might happen. Like if you look in Dallas and in California, they're already bringing in the troops, the National Guard. They're getting ready for something big. So the big is yet to come. It's yet to come. So something major is on its way, and I think it's going to be pretty bad for the next 2 or 3 weeks. But the light at the end of the tunnel, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I trust in Trump. I trust in what he's doing. I know a lot of people associated with him, and I feel like things are going to be okay. Things are going to be great.
I was coming up to the gym, and there was 2 state troopers blocking the lane on Turner.
Really?
Yeah.
David Vasquez says, I know it's the chem planes. Ain't that right, David?
Oh, he's talking about chemtrails. That's different. Yeah, a lot of people. Okay, so that could be a conspiracy, but a lot of people are saying the chemtrails are from, big pharma and this and that, and they're saying that that could be enhance the virus, enhances the virus, and they're saying 5G enhances the virus. There's no proof on that, but I've been hearing a lot about that, so I don't dismiss it, but. Where the virus is more prevalent is where they have stronger 5G. So, I don't know.
Well, there you have it, folks. In a nutshell, David Rodriguez and the pandemic.
I don't want to go too far. Listen, I don't want to go too far into it because it's way out there. My mind goes way out there.
But there you go, folks. In a nutshell, that was interesting, right? Go back to boxing here, man.
Yeah, let's get back to boxing.
What are some of the major differences in training and preparing for an amateur fight as opposed to a pro fight? Is there differences, David?
Man, no, I don't think so. I think you train the same, but you're training for, I don't even know, is amateurs these days 3 rounds?
3 rounds.
Yeah, you're just training for 3 rounds. It's a faster pace. It's like a sprint.
All right.
Okay.
That's what you said, Herman.
Yeah, so
Herman said that?
Pro boxing is more changing gears. You got to sprint, slow down, sprint, slow down.
For the long one, like a marathon.
Yeah. So
that's what we hear him say.
Yeah, so he knows. I mean, so the amateur is like, ba, 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 and it's over.
It's like you hear amateurs say, I ran 5 miles or 6 miles. What the hell are you running 6 miles for?
Yeah.
You're only fighting 3 rounds.
As an amateur, you should only run 2 miles and do it fast.
Wow. That's it.
You shouldn't do any more than that. These guys that go in there, I'm going to run 6 miles, coach. I'm like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
You're fighting 3 rounds.
When we talked about the AIBA and the USA Boxing, and you talked about how USA Boxing used to be big here. In recent times, in the past couple of years, there's been a decline in the sport of boxing, especially that I've seen here in Las Cruces, El Paso. What do you think that attributes that decline to? What do you attribute?
The cupcake generation.
The kids.
The kids don't want to fight anymore.
They're more worried about how their uniform matches versus the training.
Or their profile picture.
Yeah, exactly. They'll
come to the boxing gym and take a picture here and then leave and then share it with everybody. And everyone's like, "Wow, dude, they're not fighters anymore." That's a breed of its own, dude. I honestly think as the generations go, we're going to see it die down more.
So you actually see the decline in the sport
of
boxing?
Absolutely. It's a hard sport. Why would someone put themselves to those measures and tests when they don't have to anymore?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
as much as we love the sport, we were raised with it. We grew up watching it. We grew up with a machismo type atmosphere.
Do you think, David, that if boxing would be introduced as a scholastic sport in high schools, it'll save boxing?
No, because like I'm saying, like the mindset isn't there. It's just not there anymore. So that's my view on it. That's how I see it. They're just not made the same anymore.
Now you're worried about all the bullying going on. Can you imagine a boxing program in a high school? Oh Lord.
Exactly. Do you realize that when I go to schools, they're like, well, don't tell kids how to defend themselves, okay? Exactly. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, that's speaking of that, you also have the bully program.
Yeah, I do the KO bullying with Michael Blanco, and that's it's doing really well. We speak to many schools all over Texas, all over El Paso. Many times they have. They're like, well, you're not going to teach violence. Am I correct? I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
Get out of here, man. I'm here to tell kids how to not be victims anymore, how to be survivors. Yeah. I do implement how I do speak to the kids and talking to a counselor, talking to someone to help you, opening up. But when it comes down to it and some kid's bashing your head into a locker, you got to fight back, man.
You got to fight back.
You got to read that book that I showed you, the Teddy Atlas book. I'm almost done with it.
All right,
talks about that.
Yeah, it's like, me and her have a lot of the same views, man. That's why we get a lot.
Chris Gomez said, would you ever consider opening a boxing camp in the future, even a gym?
Yeah, Yeah, I've thought of it. I would probably do it. Maybe me and Herman could do it together. Maybe we could do it here at Warrior's Edge. I don't know. Maybe have
What kind of camp do you want to do?
a summer camp or something. Have kids come in and pay a fee and do.
He's a good trainer.
Yeah, I mean, and just put them through the workouts,
Yeah.
and then go one-on-one with them and show them how to actually, like a teacher. Like I remember I told you, there's trainers and teachers. I would like to get with kids, teach them angles, teach them the jab, teach them combinations. I never learned. See, I learned ass backwards when I came up learning how to box. Tom McKay didn't teach me the jab first. He taught me the left hook. That's why my left hook was so deadly, is because that's the first punch I learned. And that's the only punch I wanted to ever throw. And then when I started sparring, I'm like, what the hell's a jab? So I was like, oh shit, I better learn that one really quick, because that is the most important punch of boxing. But I did everything backwards. I learned the hook and the right hand, and I didn't know what the hell a jab was. And then I started sparring, and all I was throwing was hooks and right hands, and I got my ass kicked. And I was like, how come I can't take this guy out? Well, I didn't know how to throw a jab. I didn't know how to set him up. So then once I started learning from Rocky Galarza, and then Louis Burke perfected my style. Louis Burke taught me angles and how to be smooth and counter, and man, just masterful boxing came from that guy. But they all had their time. Like Tom taught me the hook. Rocky taught me how to get in there and fight, inside fighting, and then Louis perfected.
So you've had a plethora of knowledge.
Yeah, and then Herman is just a masterful mitt man. I like the way Herman works the mitts, and then
I know Louis learned a lot from Herman as far as the mitts.
But you know what? Right now, when David's talking about being a teacher, I see Louis when he does all that with the kids. When he sits there and he spends, I usually just 2 rounds on the mitts, but Louis will stay there with certain young fighters.
And I think he has passion.
I see him teaching them the fundamentals of it. And yeah, Louis is a teacher.
The passion.
Louis does that, and passion with it. So
and that's what kids miss right now.
Exactly.
The passion.
Yeah.
They don't have the passion for the pride.
They don't have the passion.
Pride, as you can see, right? So, do you think there's let's go back to the professional boxing part of it, the pro. David, do you think that there's too many belts, titles in boxing today?
Yes.
I have other questions.
Yes, it's just too much. It's an alphabet soup, man. It's ridiculous.
Right?
It's way too much, man.
There's an interim.
Yeah,
to
man.
the interim.
I mean, it's like, and it's like, dude, and then it's almost like you can order a belt online now. It's like, it's ridiculous, dude. It's like, I'm like, I mean, when I was fighting, I actually fought for like the belts that actually counted to get you to the heavyweight championship of the world. Like I won Texas and then New Mexico. Those were state belts, and then I won WBC Mexican. I won the NABA, which was like right before the heavyweight championship of the world.
Yeah.
And then I won the NABU. I mean, I won the big belts before the heavyweight championship of the world.
And before there was so many.
Now
belts.
there's like, I don't even know what the hell's out there. It's like on the IBF, IBEIEIO, Old McDonald How to Farm belt. It's like, what the hell is this, dude? Like, what are you talking about? Everyone gets a belt now. It's like a Cracker Jack box.
You know, one thing that I found kind of surprising, now there's a franchise belt.
Yes, it's stupid.
What the fuck
it's just
is a
stupid because you know
franchise
why?
belt? They want to keep them.
Yes, and not only that, you have to pay fees to get these belts.
Exactly.
You know,
it's all about
there's
money, right?
sanctioning fees.
The Zone is going to have a belt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
And you know what? That kind of draws out the non-real boxing fans. There's too many belts. Who's the damn champion? If you look at I remember back then there was
Remember
only
the
one
ESPN
heavyweight.
belt?
Yeah.
That was right before like the big.
Yeah, that was a big belt though.
Yeah, it was a big belt.
So like the belts that I pay attention to, really for me, like that is the WBA, WBO, and WBC, the 3 Ws. I don't go any further than that. I just go with the Ws.
The alphabets.
WWW. WBC, WBA, WBO.
Aldo Montes says, David, as a pro fighter, would you like to see the judges score after every round? This would allow you to know that you're ahead or behind. And lastly, none of us would be shocked when we go to the judges scorecard.
Oh, no!
Open
I think
scoring.
it takes away the drama.
Yeah,
of course.
I think people like to be in
They
on
started
the edge
doing
of their
this.
seats, not knowing.
I think you have a trainer
of
there
course.
that's telling you this is how you're doing it. I'll
Yeah,
go with
because then also you'll see fighters go, oh, they'll look up and say, oh, I'm winning this round. I'm going to just coast this.
Yeah.
round.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you got the unknown, the whole
that you got to get out there and fight.
Yeah, the element of the unknown with boxing is what makes it so attractive.
And that was Aldo Montes on that question. Folks, glad you're with us here tonight on this shelter-in-place edition, I guess, of Web Boxing 101 podcast. Again, following all CDC guidelines, Warriors Edge Boxing has closed until further notice.
And we sanitized our hands before we came on set.
Right, and it's pretty sad, guys, but I mean, we will survive and we will prevail. So I'm glad you guys are with us, man. Having with this podcast with the great David Rodriguez, Herman Delgado, and Louis Trevino here Jr. at the helm. As we almost over with the show, but again, I just wanted to thank all the people that have been tuning in on YouTube and on the Boxing Reporter online. We will get back to our feet. David Rodriguez said 3 weeks, so we'll be back by Easter, man. And I hopefully
listen. Trump is saying it himself, and I said this before even Trump said it. I have people that are good sources, in my opinion, and I'm saying that it's gonna get bad, it's gonna get worse, but there is a rainbow. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Just stick with it. Don't be surprised if your communications go out. Listen, this is gonna get worse, but it's gonna clear up. I believe in the operation itself that Trump's delivering to these pieces of shit, and I think it's going to clear up, and I think it's going to be done with.
So we'll prevail, and of course, all my prayers go to all the local gyms because it's a livelihood. I know for me, it's a livelihood to a lot of the kids that we help here at the gym. So, guys, again, thanks for tuning in, man. Your support is awesome, and I guess the next thing is we're ready to play rapid fire with David Rodriguez. You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
As long
Here
as
we
it's
go.
not math.
Top 10. Top
Get
10.
him, Dave.
What's one plus? No, I was kidding. Best Mexican fighter of all time. Go.
Cesar Chavez or De La Hoya. Okay.
Wow. Do you like De La Hoya?
Yeah, I like him that much.
Do you think De La Hoya is positive or negative for boxing?
Positive, 100%.
That question was brought up by Herman.
Really? I think he's positive. I mean, I think he was a great fighter in his prime.
I think so too.
I think he's better than Canelo.
Me too.
Yeah.
You don't like Canelo?
No, I do.
Okay,
I think he has his own place.
So you say Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. or Oscar,
Junior.
I mean Junior.
Come on, man.
Damn, I went
Senior.
You're losing it.
Yeah, this guy.
I don't even think there's any comparson. I
This
think he
guy's
is the
doing-
mecca of.
Yeah.
He is the greatest Mexican fighter.
I'm sorry, I said best cumbia singer. That was Junior.
Honestly, it's a toss-up between him and De La Hoya. I hope I can say that. But if I had to pick best Mexican fighter, well, it would be Chavez.
Best heavyweight of all time.
On paper, Rocky Marciano.
Rocky Marciano.
181 pounds, man.
Yeah,
181
Rocky
pounds.
Marciano on
He's still-
paper. And then, if I said most exciting fighter would be Tyson.
What
Ali
about
was the greatest. I mean, but
Best
on paper,
American fighter of all time in any weight class.
Man, that's kind of hard. Best American fighter.
In any
American
weight class.
fighter. Sugar Ray Robinson.
Not Mayweather.
Hell no.
Floyd
No,
Mayweather.
best when you say best with Mayweather,
All around.
you have to say best defensive fighter.
All around.
All around, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sugar Ray
I agree
Robinson.
with that one.
Best venue city for boxing.
Madison Square Garden.
Why?
It's just the mecca of boxing, man. It's just it's always been the greatest. Have always fought there.
Yeah, you're right, man. Who wins in a third fight, Canelo or Triple G?
Canelo,
Why?
because he's on the A side. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, all right.
And he's smart enough he knows how to go the distance and play it safe and just get by and win that way.
How about the best boxing movie of all time?
Rocky. Come on, man.
All four?
Dude, I love all of them.
just the
There's
original.
Or
Yeah,
just
the original.
What
The
about
original.
you, Irvin? Just the original?
Yeah, you know
I don't
what?
know, what do you
the
think,
Champ.
man?
Also, you ever seen The Champ?
The Champ
That's
with-
the 70s, dude.
John Voight.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, John Voight.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's another
Champ,
good
I
one.
remember that.
Champ.
But yeah, Rocky, huh? Best fight.
And Vinny Pazencia's movie's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Oh, Vinny Pazienza's blood.
Yeah,
Lead for
that's,
this.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Best instant replay review in boxing, yes or no?
No.
Why not?
No, why? Why?
Right. I mean, I'm just saying all the sports have it now.
No, hell no, not boxing.
All right. Your most memorable fight that you saw growing up? And I know we talked about it already, but anyone that you can think of?
Holyfield Bowl.
Holyfield Bowl. Favorite El Paso restaurant?
Oh, I like Como's.
Como's? You like
Yeah,
Italian food?
I like Italian food.
Cool,
Mexican
man.
LJ's.
Italian J's?
LJ's.
That's a staple. No Chico's tacos? Don't say nothing, Herman.
I love Chico's tacos, but I don't like the aftermath.
Yeah. And right now, without toilet paper, forget about it.
I love Chico's tacos, but I got a plan for that.
I guess that answered Rick's question. No, Chris Gomez, best fight ever. If you can go back in time, David, what era would you like to visit and why?
If I can go back in time, I would like to see the crucifixion of Jesus.
Back in time, huh? All right, and that explains it why, right?
That would answer a lot of questions for me.
Wow, there you go. Bonus question, you ready?
Yeah.
Who wins, Predator or Terminator, in a 12-round slugfest at Madison Square Garden?
Predator.
Why?
Because because he gets to be invisible. He can match his surroundings.
There you have it, folks. Rapid Fire with David Rodriguez. David, you know what? It's been awesome to talk to you, man. Can you come back?
Absolutely, I would. Man, this is great. I think this is good for boxing.
It's the first podcast of its kind.
Yeah, I love it, dude. So, and I love training here. I'm so happy you guys welcomed me with open arms. Herman's a great trainer here. I hope more people come to Warriors Edge Boxing and give it its support. I also want to send a shout out to Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic and Spa. Thank you for the supplements. Thank you for the everything they're doing for me. And listen, I hope that when I make this return to the ring, that I can make this my headquarters here in Warriors Edge.
Well, you got it, man. Thanks for being here. And it was awesome talking boxing. I know you had posted, you know what, let's just talk boxing because there's so much shit going on right now, man. It's, I drive down the street and it's pretty sad, man. But
it's a ghost town, bro. It's so eerie.
Yeah,
eerie.
We'll prevail, David. But thanks for coming out and talking, folks. And like I said, this podcast is just to talk boxing, man. We're not making no money off of it. It's fun for me, man.
It's just to shoot the shit and have a good time, man. It's fun.
It's the first of its kind, man.
Yeah,
as far as local.
Yeah.
And with the little stuff that we have, we're not like the fight game with Teddy Atlas or Joe Rogan. It's just, I guess that's what, low budget.
It starts.
But you've got people like Herman, myself, that have done big things in boxing, and we can deliver a good show.
Yeah.
And you're doing huge things here in the El Paso community. So thank you.
You
Thank you for having this podcast, for having this gym, and putting yourself out there, man. Seriously,
you got it. Thanks, man. Jaime Palacio says, thanks, champ. Jaime Palacio is also a deputy with the El Paso County Sheriff. So we also like to thank all our law enforcement personnel right now, our first responders, our medical people that are on the front lines that they got to take all this shit. You know what I mean?
I would not want to be them right now.
You know what I mean? So we want to thank everybody out there that protects our city. Without them, really, I don't think life would go on. So, great podcast. Thank you, Mr. Jeff Tepsik, for that, again, that gesture. And we'll be here, guys, every week. I think our next guest will be Brandon White. He's a professional upcoming fighter. We'd like to showcase upcoming talent as well. So, again, thanks, David, for being here. Louis, thanks for being here, son. Herman, like always, hard-hitting. Herman Delgado in your face.
I gotta get back home, man. I'm like Mr. Kravitz with binoculars. Hey, what's that guy doing outside? 911?
No. I tell you what, dude. Like my house, I tell people like I have 2 pit bulls, like mean mothers, and then I got a 9 milli, so I'm good in my house.
Well,
anyone thinks about getting in there, that's
Daniel Vasquez just said, "I'll buy you lunch tomorrow, Tree, if you take a body shot." You know what? That DJ, it better be Cattleman's, but it's closed. So we'll keep that pending.
Is it the drive-throughs open now? Oh, Cattleman's doesn't have it. Right?
Yeah, it's too far. It's probably still open, but
I'm sure they are.
DJ's mad at me because he's a Amir Khan fan.
Oh, my. Amir Khan, man, that guy.
Sorry, DJ.
Done.
Yeah, that guy had all the boxing ability in the world, but no chin.
Yep.
Yeah, all the money too.
Yeah, but no chin, you can't go anywhere in boxing. I don't care
it's like Pepino Cuevas.
Yeah.
All
the talent.
Puncher,
right.
but no chin.
All the talent in the world, and then you tickle him on the chin, and later his legs go everywhere.
Canelo just floored him.
Dude, but Canelo
almost killed him.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Canelo. One thing about Canelo, man, the guy's very astute at what he does. He's very poised, and that guy can punch. His trainer has him very, very well trained. But that's like I said, a good fighter always has to have an excellent trainer. That's the teacher. Remember I said teacher.
And let me tell you, and you talk about teachers and trainers. Before I go, man, we're still keeping going. I know Teddy Atlas or Ann Wolf. Do you guys like their training styles? You like Teddy Atlas' training styles?
I know Ann Wolf.
I'd go with Teddy Atlas.
I'd go with Teddy Atlas. Ann Wolf is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But you're talking about she was in your face, right?
Dude. Well, she had what was the guy's name?
James Kirkland, the Mandingo Warrior.
She actually is responsible for that kid being as good as he was.
Well, Kirkland was about to fight, I think, this weekend. And they postponed it.
Did they have differences? They're not together anymore.
They weren't together. He comes back. He gets knocked out by Canelo.
Right.
Then he comes back with her. Then he loses. Then they had
dude.
They had a fallout, but she's back with him.
She's a trainer like basketball coach Bobby Knight. That the kids can't relate to that anymore.
Well, let me tell you, Ann Wolf has
same with Teddy Atlas though.
Yeah. Well, going back to Ann Wolf real quick. Ann Wolf, you actually stay at a farm and at a little shack
Yeah,
in the back
yeah.
with no TV,
You know what she
no
used to
cell
do?
phone.
You know what she does? She has a heavy bag
With a
On a
truck.
truck.
Yeah.
We
And
tried to
has
do
you
that.
fucking running, punching
I
the
think
bag.
if people will see me do that here, they'll probably call CPS.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, he's abusing children.
Yeah.
No, she's hardcore, man. She
and
is hardcore.
I like Ann Wolf, and then the
I
other
do
one was
like
Teddy Atlas, awesome
I don't
individual.
even look at Ann Wolf like a chick, man.
It's
She's a dude.
There's trainers that are hardcore like that, but there's a limit to what you can do, especially with professionals. You know?
Right. You
You're
don't want to
talking
train a
professional
fighter till they're
professionals.
flat.
Yeah.
Because there's a thing is going flat.
Yeah, you're right.
When you overtrain a fighter, they go flat.
I mean, Teddy Atlas is also a great motivator.
He is, but he gets on my nerves, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all him.
Yeah, he takes over the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Christian Smith just said, and hello, Christian. He said a great job to all three of you guys.
thank you, Christian.
Professional
What's up,
ring
Christian?
announcer. I'm trying to get him some. Seth is watching too. Trying to get him a gig out here in El Paso.
Yeah, he's an excellent ring announcer.
Seth better be running. That's
He
what he
said
better be doing.
Kirkland fought in Austin back in August and won. Wolf wasn't with him because he was at the event announcing the event, I believe. But I did on the next fight that Kirkland was about to fight. Wolf was going to be with him, so it's a hate and love relationship on and off. But yeah, when you talk about trainers and teachers, Dave, I wanted just to bring up that point that you got. I like Teddy Atlas and I like Ann Wolf. I like their style of training, their motivator. Yeah, Teddy Atlas, but then also Wolf, hard style training, in your face type, because it's a violent fucking sport. It's
Yeah.
not a snowflake sport.
No, it's not. And I'm like I said, that's why I think he's gonna have trouble surviving.
Yeah,
Because
snowflakes.
It's snowing on it.
yeah, we call her we call snowflakes.
Yeah. it's
See
just-
my hat that I got.
I'm surprised you have kids coming in and training. I don't even know how this. I'm just baffled when I hear a kid wants to box.
Yeah, you know what, Herman? To be honest with you, we've had a pretty good turnout of boxers here.
Yeah, we've got some good kids that got potential.
Actually, they got potential, and
Do you train kids just to train, or do you train them to fight?
no,
train.
he's in charge of the fight team.
Okay.
And we have 6.
So you don't put up with kids that just want to come train.
No, I do that.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to come
yeah.
in and just sit on your side? I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Of course.
There's kids
You
that
gotta-
just want to
that's
come
what
do it
keeps
for
the gym
conditioning,
alive.
and that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So you're the hardcore guy, Louis. You're the one that teaches the kids how
And
to
even
defend
then, I can't
themselves.
be that hardcore. Like I said, you really got to adjust it. because-
Yeah, I'm the one that invites. You know, Dave, I got a troubled
Louis
youth here at
gets on.
Risk Youth too, man.
Yeah.
So I just come in here, give them an avenue to hit a bag and train, and then, but I also train a lot of the small
What
kids.
if we do a KO bullying
Let's do it. I'm all for it.
summer camp?
Let's do it.
It's KO bullying summer camp.
Let's do it.
And
I'm in.
teach kids how to defend themselves
You got it.
for bullies.
You got it.
All right, let's do it.
I'm in.
You in, Herman?
Yeah, that's the best thing to do with kids.
And you know what? Also, Dave, I got a lot of kids at 6-year-old, 7 that other gyms will just look at and say, "No, we don't want them." You know how
Yeah,
gyms
yeah,
are.
yeah.
No, I
that's
take
that.
those kids.
Yeah, those are the-
Tiger,
yeah, 'cause then they grow up to be
Sebastian.
badasses.
Yeah, I take those
Yeah.
kids, and you know what? You see me. It's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard. But
They
you
listen.
But you know what, man? It's a hard process. But at the end, you see their development, and it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to Tiger.
Yeah, Tiger.
Right, good little
I met
boy,
little
man.
Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good little boy, man. He's a very smart kid. He calls Herman the Hitman.
Yeah, and then you
And
tell
he knows you by the first name. He knows Dave. He's just a great kid, man.
That's awesome.
And I've had him for a year, and
Listen,
my
like,
shout
but
out.
still, like one thing that hasn't changed is some kids don't have a place to go, and they need a place to go.
Yeah.
So if this can provide that place for them to come in and be that sanctuary,
Yeah.
and for them to train and get away from all the chaos
Of course.
at school or
Of
the
course.
chaos
We
even
do
in their-
that. So
in
me
their
and my
hou-
wife do
in their
that.
households, because
Yeah.
let me tell you, some kids
Yeah.
they put up with bullshit in school
And at the
then
house.
they put
At
up with
home.
bullshit
Yeah.
at home, so they never get away from it.
And you're funny that you're mentioning it, but we do have kids like that. So
Yeah.
that's when me and my wife step in. We tell, but then the fight team, Herman,
Yeah.
my son, and then also Rich, Lujan. We have a
Yeah.
great crew here. Did you know that? You
Yeah,
come here.
I know.
We have a great crew, man. I mean, it took a while for me to establish this team, but we wanted to make sure
So
of
where
everything.
can I hang my heavy bag? Because I want to bring my heavy bag.
Right now, we'll discuss
Okay.
that. Yeah, when we get out there, we'll discuss
Okay.
it. Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Because I like the ones that swing. I can move and go under them.
Good.
And move,
You got it, man. Yeah, we'll make it work. So, guys, again, thank you, Dave, for being on the show. Herman, thank you. You gonna walk
It was
home?
great, man.
We'll give
Yeah.
you a ride.
Oh,
I'll
thanks.
give you a ride if you
Appreciate
need
it.
one, bro.
Or
All
you give her. If they pull us over, he just got on my truck. I don't know this guy. You're not
I
gonna
know
get
who this
pulled
guy
over.
is, man.
He
He
was
was
essential.
hitchhiking. I'm an essential guy.
So, guys, we want to thank everybody for tuning in for the podcast. Next week, we'll be right back on the air. David, again, a lot of thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Want to say a last shout out to your people out there? You had a lot of views, man. So that was great.
Yeah. Hey, man, everybody, Laredo Weight Loss Clinic, Weight Loss Medical Clinic and Spa. Thank you for the support, and don't be surprised if I get back in there.
And we are waiting to see David El Nino Rodriguez back in the ring. Herman, any last thoughts with you?
No, it was another good show.
Another good show,
See
man.
you next week.
See you next week, folks.
Herman's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, we're out, guys. Stay safe, my friends. Stay clean, stay safe, and anything you do in life, put God first. This has been the Web Boxing Podcast. Your host, Tree. I am out, signing out. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you later.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.